Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt and welcome back to another short war video, and today we have more major developments in Iran, Russia, and Ukraine, so let's get started with the breaking news. This morning, reports claim that an Iranian man attempted to enter a nuclear submarine base in the UK and was arrested shortly afterwards, and it's unclear why the incident occurred, but it has triggered security warnings at the base. Meanwhile, in the United States, Barksdale Air Force Base, which houses nuclear bombers, reports a drone swarm breached their airspace and surveilled sensitive sites on the base, and reports also claimed the drones were resistant to jamming and appeared to be long range. Meanwhile, in Iran, the US has conducted more massive airstrikes on Tehran and the Iranian Navy, causing massive damage to critical facilities, and we also have a few major stories out of Russia, including the fact that Putin now admits to supplying Iran with targeting data to strike US troops. Also, the French Navy seized another alleged Russian tanker ship, and also, as we speak, Moscow is currently under a large-scale Ukrainian drone attack, literally at this very moment. So today is a wild day of breaking news, some very disturbing stories coming out today to say the least. So let's jump right into our big one of the day, which goes to Navy Lookout. So as we can see right here in this post, at around 5 p.m. on Thursday, two people, a woman and a 34-year-old Iranian man, were arrested after attempting to enter HMNB Clyde in Faslane, which is a nuclear submarine base. And apparently these two individuals did not try to force their way into the base, but they simply went to the front gate and asked if they could enter. They were refused permission, and then shortly afterwards, apparently the authorities came and arrested the two for being suspicious. So obviously right here, this is an allegation. I want to emphasize that in the very beginning. We don't know really what led to the situation. At this time right now, we don't know if it was an accident. We don't know if it was intentional. We don't really know what this is, but obviously it has raised some eyebrows right now because this is a nuclear submarine base, and the individual that allegedly tried to enter is apparently, according to reports, an Iranian male. So that obviously creates some major security concerns, to say the least, and we're awaiting more details on this story. But just to give you some information about what this base actually is, we do have the Wikipedia article right here, and this base right here is best known as the home of Britain's nuclear weapons in the form of nuclear submarines armed with Trident missiles. So to say this base is very important is actually an understatement. This base is critically important to the UK's nuclear deterrence and also their Trident missiles as well. So very big deal, by the way. So I'll be waiting for more information about this because it has definitely piqued my interest quite a bit, and I'm very curious to see exactly what was trying to happen with that situation. But moving into our next one here, we have even a more disturbing situation. This time, this one happened in the United States, and we're just hearing about this today, and this is a big one. So we are seeing right here in this post that Barksdale Air Force Base, which is near Shreveport in Louisiana, was hit by multiple waves of drones over an entire week's time, and the base houses apparently the nuclear bomber fleet of the United States. So we do see here, this is a snippet of the article that came out about this situation, and it says between March 9th and 15th, the security forces on the base at Barksdale observed multiple waves of about 12 to 15 drones operating over sensitive areas of the installation, including the flight line itself, with aircraft displaying non-commercial signal characteristics, long-range control links, and resistance to jamming. That's really concerning there. Also, it said after reaching multiple points across the installation, the drones dispersed across sensitive locations on the base, and the flights lasted for around 4 hours each day, and the drones used varied routes of ingress and deliberate maneuvering within restricted airspace. So basically, sort of cutting through the very fancy wordage there, these drones literally swarmed the base. They went over the sensitive sites where the B-52s are at, and they were hanging out there for multiple hours a day for a week straight. So, I mean, to say that's a breach, I would say that's an understatement there. This is highly concerning, and apparently they didn't really shoot these drones down from the sounds of it. And also, by the way, I want to point out that Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana is extremely important to the U.S. nuclear deterrence as well. Obviously, B-52s being a part of the nuclear bomber fleet, this is disturbing. And of course, Russia has displayed an interest in taking out Barksdale in the event of a war. So that is highly concerning, to say the least. But moving into our next one here, this one goes to Ocean Technical, and we're also getting more reports claiming that the U.S. plans to seize Kharg Island very soon. And we can see here the U.S. is considering plans to occupy or blockade Iran's Kharg Island to pressure Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and we actually talked about that last night on the air about what this possible plan could look like, and it sounds like that is the most recent report of the events that could take place very soon. So we do know at this point that 2 Marine Expeditionary Units, which are pretty large forces by the way, are currently en route to the Middle East and are being deployed, and many speculate that Kharg Island is target number 1. Some people say it could be the Iranian coast coastline that's going to be invaded. Nobody's really sure, but something is going to happen because you don't deploy 2 MEUs like this without actually having some type of operational plan already in motion. So something's going to happen, and we'll have to wait and see what that's going to be, because the U.S. has said they're not going to invade Iran, but I mean the deployments suggest otherwise, so we'll have to wait and see. But moving into our next one here, this one's going to go to World Source News, and we are seeing another escalation in the Middle East as of this morning. We are seeing this morning that warning sirens were sounded at the Incirlik Air Base in Turkey due to an alleged Iranian missile incursion. So we do have a video here showing the sirens going off at the base. We have not heard of an impact on the base, and we've also not really seen an interception either. So it could have been possibly a false alarm, but there is claims that Iranian missiles were once again fired at Turkey, which was it's obviously a NATO member. It still is one, and we're seeing that here. So let's take a look at the video and see what we can see from the sirens going off. So as you can hear right there are the sirens going off of the Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. And you can't really see any missile fire or anything like that happening in the sky. You really can't see anything like that. So all we're hearing is the sirens. So for right now, that's all we have to go on, is right now there's sirens going off, and it could be a possible incursion. We're just not really sure. But moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to World Source News yet again. We've also seen that Bandar Abbas, which is one of Iran's top naval ports and military bases, has been hit once again by massive U.S.-Israeli strikes. So let's take a look at our video and see how large these strikes were on Bandar. Let's take a look. Okay, so there it is. That is apparently Bandar Abbas out there in the distance that you're seeing from this car. That is a massive explosion out there, and it looks like something was definitely directly hit by a missile. And we don't know what it is because obviously this guy's very far away that's filming this. But as you can see though, Bandar was attacked once again, and at this point, the Iranian Navy is largely wiped out. The only thing they have left at this point is pretty much their drone boats, which are generally kept under the ground on the coast, which makes them very hard to destroy. So that's why they have those left, and those are very potent, by the way. So we still have to be very careful about that. But right now, the Iranian Navy is in very foul shape. But moving on from this right here and moving into our next one, this one goes to PH Gritty. And we've also seen Tehran absolutely getting lit on fire as of this morning. This thing is literally on fire. So let's take a look and see the massive destruction right now inside of Tehran from U.S. airstrikes. Oh, wow. Look at that. You see, look at that. Multiple explosions. Just left and right. That is a hell of a bombing campaign right there. That entire area, whatever this was right here in Tehran, has just been absolutely leveled by some strikes here. That is wild footage indeed right there. So Tehran under massive attack, as you can tell right there from that footage. But moving into our next one, and this one's going to go to Tom Wright. And we've also seen the U.S. president has made another statement today about the situation with reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and he is angry as hell right now with NATO for not sending their ships to help reopen the strait. So here's what the president said in his post. He said, without the USA, NATO is a paper tiger. He said they didn't want to join the fight to stop a nuclear-powered Iran, and now that the fight is militarily won, with very little danger for them, they complain about the high oil prices they are forced to pay, but they don't want to help keep open the Strait of Hormuz, a simple military maneuver. It's not simple, by the way, but he says it's the single reason for the high oil prices, and it's so easy for them to do with so little risk. He calls them cowards, he said, and we will remember. So I do want to point out, most people are going to know this right off the bat, by the way, but I feel it necessary to point this out in case people are confused. The Strait of Hormuz is not a simple situation. That is highly complex. To say it's simple is like saying that rocket science is easy or something. That's a crazy thing to say. Also, by the way, it's not going to be easy for Europe to help us out. They're going to be putting their ships at very high risk by doing that, and it's not going to be easy. So that's an understatement as well. And also, NATO's not a paper tiger. I don't have to say that, but you know, there's a statement from the president. But moving on to the next one here, this one goes to open source intel. Oh, and I have some footage here that you're going to enjoy. You're going to enjoy this quite a bit because I surely did when I saw it. We have some footage here showing a U.S. CRAM system, which is a machine gun based air defense system that's widely used across the Middle East. It intercepted an incoming Iranian attack drone at close range over Baghdad this week, and this is impressive as hell. I must admit right here, a very nice piece of footage. So let's take a look and see this thing in action. So there goes the drone right there. And look at that. Now tell me that's not impressive, by the way. I mean, look at that. The drone came in, the CRAM got the thing, and it literally fell right to the ground. That, I will say, highly impressive. I like to see that right there. Probably one of the more impressive pieces of footage I've seen come out so far in this war. So that is pretty cool to see that. Literally, so close on camera. This guy was literally standing right underneath the interception point. But moving into our next one here, this one goes to Ocean Technical, and we've also got some more information about that alleged F-35 shoot down or damage that the F-35 took the other day over the skies of Iran. And we can see here that the pilot of the American F-35 hit by the Iranian missile yesterday suffered shrapnel wounds apparently, but is in stable condition, at least according to the reports. And the F-35 made a quote-unquote hard landing, well, that sounds like something Russia would say, by the way, and it won't be returning to service anytime soon. So essentially, it sounds like Iran actually did shoot down our F-35. It sounds like that was the case. So clearly, Iran does have capabilities for air defense, at least in some parts of Iran. They still have it, and it looks like the F-35 apparently took the direct hit and is now out of action. So essentially, it is destroyed for the most part. So of course, that's tragic to hear that. I am glad to hear though that the pilot's okay. That's the most important part about this. Obviously, that's a big financial loss, but the pilot's life is a lot more important than simply, cash in the bank. So thankfully, the pilot is okay, but has taken some injuries. But moving into our next one, this one goes to Fintech's network. And also, this is another satisfying piece of footage right here. U.S. CENTCOM's released footage showing the A-10s conducting aerial refueling operations in the Middle East. And as everybody loves it so much, the A-10 is hard at work right now. It's doing hard work over Iraq. It's doing some hard work even over Iran, by the way, in the most southern part of Iran. It's currently doing strafing runs on some locations down there where the air defense has been taken out by the U.S. airstrike. So now the A-10, I will admit this, it has to operate in areas where the air defense is largely destroyed for the most part, because it is kind of a bit of a slower aircraft. So if it goes too slow and gets hit by air defense, it's basically a sitting duck to a large degree. So it's operating down there and it's doing a pretty damn good job. We are seeing that on camera. So let's take a quick look at the refueling right here. It's getting something to drink. Let's take a look. And there it is right there. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and mute the static noise in the background, but look at that right there. It is thirsty, and look at that thing. It's leaving. It's got that very cool painting on the front of it, like the shark teeth and stuff like that. Look at that thing. There it is right there. It's like a stealth beast right there in the night. So I think they ought to name this thing the Beast of Iran Skies at this point, because this thing is pretty impressive. And it is, once again, even though it's an older aircraft, it's still in heavy use, and I like to see that. But moving into our next one here, we have some news coming out of a different region right here. We are getting some news out of Russia, and we have a couple of major stories coming out of Russia and Ukraine right now. So let's start with our first one from Politico Europe. And get this right here. This is an interesting one. Moscow allegedly proposed a quid pro quo to the U.S. under which the Kremlin would stop sharing intelligence information with Iran, such as, get this, the precise coordinates of U.S. military assets in the Middle East, meaning our guys, by the way, if the U.S. ceased supplying Ukraine with intel about Russia. So I could have sworn that we were just told about a week ago that we could take Putin at his word that he wasn't giving targeting data to Iran. So it sounds like Moscow directly reached out and gave this deal right here and said that they will stop giving information to Iran to target U.S. troops if the U.S. backs off giving Ukraine information. So if this report is accurate, I think some people have been doing some pretty bad lying if this report right here is accurate. So we're waiting to see if the story gets more corroboration behind it, because if it does, it sounds like some people have some answering to do for some of these lies that have been out there. But jumping to our next one here, this one goes to Disclosed TV. We've also seen that the French have been busy as well. The French Navy, along with the UK allies, have seized a tanker from Russia's alleged shadow fleet and is suspected of flying a false flag in the Western Mediterranean. So this is an alleged ship right here that is involved somehow with Russia, and it looks like the French have now seized it, and they have sent their helicopters out and put their guys on the ship, and now it is now a seized vessel. So it looks like they are once again still continuing to seize these ships. We had heard Russia threaten about 24 hours to 48 hours ago that they might start sending Russian naval escorts with some of these ships, but we haven't seen that yet. And also, we were also told that some of these ships might have Wagner mercenaries on board to basically provide security, and we haven't seen that either. So I'm not sure if Russia's just bluffing, which it could very much be that they're just simply bluffing, but as you can see here, another one has been seized without much of an issue. But moving into our next one, this one is going to War Translated. Now this one right here here is a pretty interesting one right here. We are seeing the Russians are now posting footage claiming that they have spotted a Swedish Saab 340 long-range radar and control aircraft flying over Ukraine. So this right here is a pretty big deal. Also, we had heard that Ukraine was set to receive about 2 of these aircraft, I believe, and it looks like it is now in service, and we're now getting it on camera and even seeing the thing flying over. So I will admit, a little bit concerning that the Russians are right below it, because that means the aircraft could be vulnerable, and these are rather expensive aircraft right here. But let's take a look at the video. This is one of the first clips that we've seen so far of this long-range radar aircraft flying over Ukraine that Ukraine's apparently now fielding. So let's take a look. And there it is right there. That does appear to be that aircraft, actually. That appears to be it. So that's pretty impressive, actually. So if that is the case and they are actually fielding that aircraft now, that means Ukraine has gotten some very, very good upgrades to their targeting information based on seeing this right here. So it looks like Ukraine's using it based on the footage here, unless the Russians are completely faking this. It looks like they're using it, so pretty impressive. But moving into our next one here, this one's going to go to War Translated yet again, and we're also seeing a pretty massive drone attack right now, yet again, over the Moscow region inside of Russia, which obviously houses the capital city, and we're right now seeing the footage come out from it, and also the Russians freaking out that the drones are returning to Moscow yet again, and their savior Putin isn't doing much about it. So let's take a look at the video. So there's something that just hit right there. That must have been a drone hitting or an interception or something. But as you can see, though, he's now in his vehicle. He's now sitting here looking at something. He's saying it hit over here. So apparently it did hit near this guy's position based on the footage. Also, there appears to be some interceptions right there in the sky. There appears to be some puffs of smoke, which indicates the Russians likely did intercept 1 or 2 of those drones that came over. But as you can see, though, Moscow is currently under attack. And this is a pretty large attack, by the way. Let me show you one other thing as well to give you a perspective here. This is currently the air raid alerts over Moscow. And as you can see, the Moscow Oblast is in red, including the capital city of Moscow itself. So this is a pretty large attack, and we're waiting to see more damage coming out from it. But moving into our next post here, this one goes to Alexander C4. And you might be able to tell from this very small thumbnail right here that something is bad happened to the Russians' helicopter. The Ka-52 Alligator, which is a pretty common Russian helicopter variant, has been destroyed by Ukraine. Guess what? Using a cheap FPV drone. So this very expensive Alligator helicopter was taken down by this little small $1,000 FPV drone. So what a hell of an embarrassment with this. But let's take a look at the video, though. This is a pretty wild clip right here showing this Alligator getting taken out. So let's take a look. So there it is right there. So you can see this drone impacted right there, almost around the side of the actual little rocket pod on the side of that Alligator right there. Look at it. It's chasing it down there with the Alligator trying to get away from the thing. This huge helicopter is running away from a little puny drone. That's quite a sight. But as you can see, the Ukrainians are trying to get their bearings again. Look at that. There comes another one. Oh, and that's the one they got. That's the one they got right there, actually. So it did snag it, as you can see right there. Look at that. They're saying $16 million. That's what they're saying. There goes the thing right there. Look at it. It just crashed. That is crazy right there. The Ukrainians just took that thing out with a little cheap drone. Wild stuff right there, I must say so myself. And also, that's another reason. I mean, look at this. I mean, American politicians, look at what Ukraine's doing with cheap drones, by the way. We should be taking lessons from these people and getting the knowledge from them, because we need that knowledge in our military, and we need to put the ego aside, because, I mean, look at what they're able to do with these cheap drones. I haven't seen our military doing that, so I think we ought to take some lessons from them. It can't hurt to get a little extra knowledge. But jumping into our next one here, this one's going to go to Jay in Kyiv. We've also heard of another major loss for the Russians in Kupyansk. It's not going well for the Russians, folks, on the front lines. Like, we have not been reporting on that too heavily recently, but it is going pitifully right now. And the Ukrainians are taking over 500 square kilometers of territory. The Russians are getting pushed back, and now Kupyansk is a disaster for the Russians, and it's getting worse. So let's take a look. And as we can see right here in this post from Jay in Kyiv, he says the Russians are saying that the last Russian troops in Kupyansk have been ushered on to the great vodka distillery in the sky. Also, that's crazy work, by the way, right there with that, courtesy of Ukraine's armed forces. So as you can see right here in the Telegram post, this is the Russians. They said in Kupyansk, the settlement is almost completely occupied by the Ukrainian armed forces, and under the information cover of silence of the Russian Ministry of Defense, the Ukrainian armed forces are clearing the remaining northern section, and the guys from the unit here in Russia have apparently just been eliminated for the most part. So, I mean, what a situation. The Russians are pretty much admitting waiting to feed on Telegram right now. And like this guy said right here in the post, they've been sent to the Great Vodka Distillery in the sky. So, whoa, what a situation with that, by the way. But with that, folks, that is actually our last post of the video. So if you found today's video informative, go ahead and smack that like button. And also, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and smack that subscribe button as well to stay notified of these daily uploads when there is news to cover. And also, we run nightly live war news streams every single night, except for Mondays. We take that day off to have a little bit of a break, by the way, as we work around the clock all the time. But we do appreciate you all for joining us once again. And if you want to support our channel, you can do so on our Patreon page. The link is in the description below for Patreon, and you can go over there and sign up for like a $5 or $10 a month membership, which is like a cup of coffee these days with these massive prices that are floating around the United States these days. And it helps keep our channel on the air, and we appreciate that very much. And it's thanks to you that our channel is able to keep running and be financially supported enough to be able to keep operating. So we do appreciate that very, very much. And we will see you all tonight once again at 10 p.m. Eastern on the next Nightly War News stream. And with that, bye-bye for now.